But he's also engaged and passionate, some of the ingredients that Ryan just talked about in his talk. He was always engaged in my classes and my colleagues' classes. He would always find extra reading from different sources, bring them to the class. And so it broadened my understanding of criminology and sociology. And then also what makes Travis a one-of-a-kind student is that he really has a passion to know more about sociology. He wants to know why things work the way that they do. He wants to understand why the patterns exist the way that they do. And then, to me, and I'm going to keep this very brief, to me, he's the ideal graduate. And in some ways, Ryan prepped this nicely for me. He knows key sociological principles. He knows the patterns, which are all the things we talk about in our classes. And then he matches those ideas and knowledge with a sense of social justice. Please welcome Travis.
Thank you. Not used to talking into a microphone, so I'll try to do this. I am very proud to be standing here today as a college graduate. It was a long and hard process, but I can truly say that it has been worth it. It has not been an individual effort. My parents, my friends, my classmates, and my teachers have all done a lot to get me in this cap and gown today. And I mean that literally because I borrowed my cap and gown from one of my friends. So it does mean a lot to be standing up here in my borrowed cap and gown, because a lot of people, and honestly most of the people that I grew up with, never really get the opportunity to do this. So I am infinitely grateful that I was given the opportunity to prove to myself, above all, that I was capable of getting a college degree, and then I got cocky and got two. Having graduating today with a BA in sociology and a BA in theater, I never could make up my mind which I was more passionate about, so I just went ahead and got both. Since we're sociologists today, I can talk about that one. And in reality, I've always been interested in sociology. It's been mentioned before. I just didn't always really know about it. In school, I was more interested in watching people interact than I was like my own studies or anything. So I didn't feel we were learning any actual important information. I dropped out of school and continued pursuing social studies on the streets of Kansas City, Tucson, New York. And then I eventually wound up in Albuquerque, and I enrolled at CNN, not with like big goals of higher education, but just to give school another shot. And while I was there, I signed up for an elective called Deviant Behavior, because that just sounds like something awesome to learn about. And on the first day I realized that this was a class and a subject matter unlike anything I'd learned in school before. And it wasn't that the articles that we read were telling me anything that I didn't already know. I mean, poor people have less opportunity than the rich. Black people are still discriminated in jobs, housing, police harassment. The war on drugs is a $1 trillion failure that has ruined countless lives. But it was the fact that these were scholars and scholarly articles discussing this information. It wasn't me with my friends drinking on the porch. And these are people who made a living looking at the social injustice and saying why. So I just felt that I did find my calling as a sociologist, is I can use my brain to fight against the things that have always upset me so much about our society. And the sociological imagination does allow us to step outside of ourselves and study people in the same way that we would study the motions of the planets or the anatomy of a frog. And while I have my own ideology, my own beliefs and biases, I also hold faith in the objective rationality of what we do as social researchers. For what we are as sociologists at the core is problem solvers. We understand that society isn't perfect. We find out where it is broken and find the best way to fix it. And it's not enough to stay secluded in academia doing this. We have to become members of the societies and communities that we're studying and learning about. And I'm personally most interested in the finding solutions part of sociology, because after all, social change can only be brought about by the decisions and actions of people. It's easy to think of society as a separate being that dictates our lives, but society is just people coming together to do anything. And watching society change is fun, but I think it's much more exciting to be part of society changing. And we were graduating at a time when there is an earnest debate over what kind of country and society we want to live in. Since the Great Depression, our country has taken great pride in our social safety net, the idea that we collectively will always take care of our most unfortunate members. But now there's a real movement that believes we can no longer afford to do this. They advocate that we become a nation of individuals, a society where everyone only looks out for their own. And on the other side is the argument that our safety net was never really strong enough. It was just a gesture put in place to make us feel better about our own wealth. There's a strong push to make America an actual land of opportunity to ensure that everyone born into this country has the same chance at success in life as everyone else. I'm not here to speak on which camp I belong to, it's probably pretty obvious, but what is important is people making educated decisions about these kind of ideals and beliefs, instead of like instinctively trying to hoard onto your own and cut programs thinking it's a waste of money. We need to think about how this affects our society, how cuts to welfare affect crime, how cuts to education affect our long-term economy. And on the other side, we do need to consider how we spend our money, that it's not enough to just throw money at problems. We need to find out what's most effective, where are the greatest needs. It is obvious that our safety net fails for many people, and we need to objectively look at this. And that is what we as sociologists are here for. We collect data quantitatively, qualitatively, examine causal relationships, and come to objective conclusions. We serve a very important role in society. We're the watchdogs and the whistleblowers. It's our responsibility to be vocal in criticizing what doesn't work and to advocate what will work. And you do hear a lot of talk now about spoiled students pursuing degrees in liberal arts and humanities, sociology, history, political science. And people say that if we really wanted to contribute to society, we become engineers or computer scientists. And I have the utmost respect for people who can create new and innovative machines and buildings, but everyone forgets that it's human beings that make these machines work. I can think of no nobler calling than to study human beings. We're far more complex than any machine that has ever been built, and we are constantly changing. And I do think we need sociologists to stay on top of it, because society is a pretty crazy thing, and someone's got to keep an eye on it. So I would like to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak today, and I would ask everyone graduating with me today to not forget the things we learned in school, to not forget that we are members and products of a society, but most importantly, to not forget that we are the ones who create society, and we are the only ones who can change it. Thank you.